Okay. Halting everything, stopping everything that we're doing because a very important package just showed up. And if you don't know, you should know. And if you do know, I'm really freaking excited. The downpipes have finally arrived from Polar Engineering, and today we're going to be installing the 3-inch downpipes with the dump tubes onto my Pulsar Turbo G25 660s. The main thing here is, yes, they are V-band. That's awesome. It makes them super easy. It's just a simple single bolt on a V-band clamp that gets tightened, and these things are ready to go. There's no more 5 bolts that have to be tightened down or anything like that. V-bands have been common in other vehicles now for years, and the Z32 chassis is just now coming around to them with the introduction to the Polar Engineering turbo manifold kit. These downpipes and dump tubes will be offered with the Polar Engineering turbo manifold kit. It'll all come as one kit when you order yours. I got mine separately just because of the way that they are being made and manufactured. So for today, I'm going to be giving you a detailed tutorial of how they need to go into my car as far as orientation and everything else like that. It's simple, it can be simple, but I'm going to make it easier for you guys and show you how exactly I'm plumbing mine. Again, the orientation of the external wastegates is very important here, because if you don't get that right, then these won't go on at all. Let's get everything set up, ready to go, and I can get you guys at least a heads up and an idea of where you need to position your wastegates in relation to the downpipes and turbos. So let's get everything situated here. If you look here, I got my driver's dump tube and 3-inch downpipe ready to go. Here's my passenger side dump tubes right here. Just getting everything ready to go. I got my tools and everything under the car. I'm now gonna slide under there, and I will say, I do know that I will already have to clock my driver's side wastegate upwards more. And you'll see what I mean by that once it gets in the car and I get better video of it. So if you look here, I currently have my wastegate pointed almost at like a, I would say a 45-degree angle to the ground, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on which way you look at it. I'm naturally gonna have to loosen this up and rotate it more that way. Probably set it to more of about a 90-degree angle. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. So since I'm already in here, this was already loose. I pulled my steering shaft off of my steering rack. It's a slip yoke. It'll slide right back on, no big deal. The only thing is, if you do this, you'll probably lose the center point of your steering wheel. So when you go put it back on, just make sure your steering wheel's centered. But anyways, I pulled that off just for the time being to make this easier to get on. Now, what I'm gonna do is position this such that I'll be able to easily get to it, even with this on the vehicle. If you noticed, between the last scene and this scene, I added in some heat shielding. This downpipe actually runs nearly parallel to these lines here on the chassis. It's not completely tight yet. However, I will tighten it before I go ahead and put this one all the way in. I just want to make sure it fits and everything's snug, and we'll have plenty of clearance for everything. Now, I gotta somehow grow a third arm to do all this. This is really hard. I can't get my freaking other hand up in here. My jack's in the way. All right, there we go. All right, y'all. Yes. Victory. Billy from the future. When I first made this video, I messed up. I didn't catch it until after I finished recording. I was editing, and I sent the pictures off to Polar Engineering actually, and he messaged me and said that, hey, I think that pipe's supposed to be back further. And I was like, well, yeah, that would make sense, because where it is now, it's actually right behind the 3-bolt flange where the rest of the exhaust goes. So I was mildly retarded when I installed this and didn't think about that for some reason. I'm gonna go ahead and fix that right now for you guys. Don't make the same mistakes I did. And that's why we're here. That's why you're watching this, so you can learn how to do it yourself. But in all honesty, as I was creating this video, I'm literally learning how to do it as I'm making the video for you guys. So bear with me here. We're gonna fix it and get it right for y'all. If you look real close, well, you don't have to look that close. This is the dump tube. This is my exhaust. This one needs to keep going backwards. This one's in the way. This will hit as soon as it goes anywhere. Okay, so this looks way better. You can see from this angle here probably a lot better that this is now behind this one over here. So much better. That's how it's supposed to be. That's it. Simple fix. Carry on with the video. Back to the normal routine. See you later. That is tight, but it clears, right? That's all we need. We don't need much. This is a Z32 after all. This is all the way on. I mean, I could cheat it a little bit, maybe. Nah, we don't need to. Look at that. Look at all that clearance. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, this is gonna have to be changed. I'll probably end up removing this bracket, flipping these over so that it runs closer to the frame rail here. Yo, this is a work of art. I'm happy because this means that we can remove the turbos with the motor still in the car. Will it be easy? Probably not. And in case you're wondering, oh, you have no coolant lines. Fellas, we're not using coolant lines on this build. Don't know how else to break it to you. It's not happening. I'm not dealing with it. We're going dry. There'll be oil in it. It'll be fine. All right, so we are burning the midnight oil because it's dark outside, and I am here on a weekday after work. So tonight we are going to be putting in the passenger side downpipe and dump tube. It'll be pretty much the same thing as the driver's side, although this side should be much easier because we don't have the steering column or anything like that to deal with. Okay, so first order of business is loosen up the wastegate on this side. So after a little bit of playing around, I think I finally found the proper spot. I have this riding right along the lip of the starter. So it rides right in between there, and this here seems to fit. Now mind you, I have no instructions on this. I just have passenger and driver's side written down on the pipes, and that's it. That's what you get for getting one of the first pieces. It's very tight, per usual. 300ZX stuff, right? But the goal here is to get the motor running first. These are my wideband sensor connectors, so we'll worry about that later. Man, it's like a perfectly fitted piece to a puzzle here, I swear. I am able and fortunate enough to fit both hands up in here. Some of you may not be able to do that, in which case, good luck. Okay, so just to quickly show you guys, what I ended up doing was I brought this V-band clamp down to here, grabbed it like this, squeezed it together, pulled it down to the underside, and then I threaded the nut on with it down here. Then once I got it kind of snug, I twisted it up this way. If you can put a V-band nut on with one hand, props to you, because that takes skill. Okay, so that pretty much does it. This is how much room I have between the downpipe and the starter. I'm happy with it. It's not rubbing against anything. It's not right up against anything. Same thing with the downpipe. If you can see, there is a little bit of clearance. I know it's not much. You guys are probably laughing, but there is some clearance between the frame rail and the downpipe right up here, and it's not rubbing against the dump tube right here. I mean, considering how tight it is in here right now, and the fact that I can now access every bolt on the turbo relatively easily, this is huge for the Z32 VG30 guys. At this point, I will have no problem removing the turbos with the engine still in the car. This will only open up when wastegate opens up. We'll just be spitting hot fire straight out of these dumps. Got one here, and they are freaking ready to go. I'm beyond stoked for this. Now, I do still need to, I still need to tighten the wastegates up top, but that's not that big of a deal. I need to tighten that one as well as this one over here up top. So let's go top side and tighten them things down, and then that'll pretty much wrap up this video. This is it. I brought you over here to show you real quick If you look down in here, you can see the orientation, exact orientation, and all the spacing I have for my external wastegate down in there. Realistically, you could get to it from up top, but if you want to do it just by yourself, it's probably easiest to do it how I did it, from the bottom. And then also same thing with the downpipe. I have the nut facing downwards so I could reach it from the bottom as I put it on there. You should be able to see it right there. Another thing to pay attention real closely to here, the positioning of my vacuum ports on the external wastegate. So if you look here, I have the ones up top blocked off. You could run vacuum lines directly out of those if you want. However, it'll be very close to your head or valve covers depending on what you're using. I ran mine through the bottom. I'm also using these push connect fittings. So that probably helps me out tremendously with spacing down there as well. If you want to use those, I can put a link down in the description so you can order your push connect fittings with nylon hose. Now my driver's side turbo is much more difficult to see from the top side. Showed you all what it looked like beneath. Unfortunately, I just have so much wiring down in here. My vacuum ports are on the top side and I'm using 2 straight push connect fittings coming out of it with push connect hose running all the way through to my regulator. This regulator and the way I have it positioned is the entire reason why I am running the push connect hose to begin with. Kind of dumb, right? But hey, it's pretty cool stuff, I'm not gonna lie. And then there's the V-band clamp for the wiring harness right there. You should be able to see it pointing out towards the camera from this angle, maybe not. It's kind of underneath my wire harness. So I wanted to make this video just as a follow-up to the manifold video that I made a while back with the install on the manifolds, the turbos, the downpipes. This is pretty much an immediate follow-up to that video because there were some things I had to change, such as the orientation of the vacuum nipples and the wastegates in relation to the motor and everything else. Now with those push connect fittings, if you're curious at all what they look like, this is a union. So what they do is they pretty much, I don't know if you can see there, but when the hose goes in, it pushes down and then it locks in place. And I just dropped that one. The only way to get it out is to depress the outer ring and pull the tube out. This stuff is pretty cool and it's pretty resilient to any kind of heat. It's used in a lot of different things, especially on like semi-truck brake lines, but that's the DOT stuff. So you don't really need the DOT stuff. It's considered DOT approved because it's brass. If you're doing this install, this is just, it's something, it's nice to see somebody else do it before you do it, right? Unfortunately, I did not have that luxury. I just had some pictures to go off of and a lot of guessing. Next time I do it, I'll know what tools I need, how to mount them, so on and so forth. And hopefully you guys will be able to do it quicker than I did. And stay tuned because this car is going to be running in no time. Basically have to do some final touches to it, fill it with fluids, flush it, and then set the tune up so it knows what to look for the trigger wheel I got now. Once all of that is set up and ready to go, this thing's ready to fire. This is it, you guys. We're on the home stretch here. This thing should be running in the next couple weeks. Those downpipes were pretty much the final piece to my puzzle, and we're ready to go. It's go time.